I'm Ashton Addison from the Crypto Coin Show, and today on Blockchain Interviews, we have James Stephens, CEO of Krown Technologies, here to talk about a variety of topics, including quantum, threats to Bitcoin, blockchain forensics, and so much more. James, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time.
Ashton, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to dive into quantum. I think a lot of people, they keep hearing about it, and we're wondering, is it a threat to Bitcoin, to blockchains? When is it a threat? And I know you have a lot of those insights and what you and your team have been building with Krown Network as well. We can dive into that. I'd love to start out with a little bit on your background and your experience in blockchain and forensics, and then how that led into Krown Technologies. And then we can dive into all the details.
Sure, absolutely. Well, again, thank you for having me. So I've spent about the last 10 years now in crypto, DeFi, and blockchain. What led to me really wanting to get into it further was, I've worked on projects before. I've worked in the background, looked at the security side of things as well. And for me, it was really about number one, I was the victim of an attack as well, and a theft of my digital assets. So that was really one part of it. Was I wanted to build something. I had enough experience in the field. I wanted to build something of my own. And I could see the quantum threat on the horizon at that point. Now, this was about 4 years ago. So, and it was something I spoke about, something I really got passionate about. And, people used to laugh at me, 3 or 4 years ago. They'd be like, oh, that's nothing. But now here we are, right? And so I've seen the good that we can do with technology and crypto, and I've seen, unfortunately, the bad. And it's gotten a bad stigma. So for me, it was really focusing on what can we do good, how can we increase transparency and the honesty, right, integrity of the teams, and then also the security. So that was really what led me into it. I've always been wanting to do something of my own, but that's how Krown was founded and why.
Yeah, security is so important, especially with so many new entrants. Not just retail investors and older generations also now getting involved in Bitcoin and other digital assets, but enterprises and ones that have billions of dollars, of course, they want to have a huge focus also on security. Did that personal experience and just the experience of understanding security and then where quantum fits in grow into Krown Network? And maybe you can just talk a little bit about what Krown Network does.
Yeah, sure. So just kind of give you an overview of the Krown Network. So the Krown Network it's built from scratch for post-quantum cryptography. It's for the quantum protection, right? And it's not something that's patched in. It's not something that we've already built our chain. It's not like a legacy chain where you're going to have to go back and completely revamp things security-wise. But again, it was really formed out of the need for security and seeing over the horizon of what's to come. So that's what really led into the Krown Network. Now, it will be the largest ecosystem and blockchain in the world. It will be basically like, you can imagine, a faster, cheaper, larger Ethereum with regard to the ecosystem. It's going to have 32 products in the ecosystem itself. No, we're not talking about dApp creation, things like that, where you can build onto our chain, because you can definitely do that as well. But what we're talking about is Krown products and services that are and work within the chain itself. So a lot of people ask me, how can you explain it to me, in 10 or 15 seconds? And I tell them, I said, okay, imagine, I mean, this is the best I could do with it, but imagine the human body, and that's the Krown chain itself, right? And inside all of our bodies, we have organs, and our organs feed our body, and that's what keeps us alive. Well, that's what sustains the Krown chain, is the ecosystem. What we've done is we've built all of these products. We're building them inside the chain, and every one of them give back to the native coin. So it helps increase its value, it holds its floor, and it creates really a type of wealth for investors. And obviously I can't give any financial advice on that, but there's an opportunity there for investors that invest in Krown Coin itself. So again, it's just really like an ecosystem that gives back, and it sustains itself, because a lot of the revenue streams or revenue channels from each product, a certain percentage of that goes back into buying back into the Krown Coin itself. So that's how it works. Like I say, that's how I say it, is you can imagine the human body and the organs. So
Definitely, and there's so many moving parts, and I feel like making a a little bit of a comparison to Ethereum helps paint a good picture because when you say there's 32 systems, it's like, oh my God, it's going to be so overwhelming. I'm going to have to take a whole 4-year course to understand it all. But people understand Ethereum has the potential to be the world computer, and there's not a lot of these systems that you're talking about that are built in. It's all just like, go for it, whoever you want, build a decentralized application that does this. And it's a little bit chaotic, and especially when they moved from the proof of work to proof of stake, they were saying it's like an airplane flying midair, taking out the engine and putting in a new engine and hoping it's still flying. And I know that Krown Network is also in proof of stake. Could you
Yeah.
paint a little bit of a better picture in how Ethereum works right now and how Krown will work similarly and what's different?
Yeah, so with Ethereum as a layer one, so as with Ethereum, you're able to build what's called create a DApp or build dApps or coins, things like that, smart contracts onto their chain, and you can instantly launch onto the chain after you built your smart contract or your DApp. Uh, we work in the same way. The difference is that with Krown, you have a you have a foundational security standard, and which is we have native quantum random number generators, or QRNGs. And that's a proprietary product that's built into it. We also have 6 other layers of post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. All of these pieces fit in a way that make it the most secure network in the world, and they all sit at their strengths, whether it's dilithium or a Kyber or whatever it may be. All of the signature validations, every one of these are built to thwart a quantum attack. So for us, and including also the validators, they're secured at multiple cryptographic layers, and the entire infrastructure itself. It's designed with a quantum secure foundation. So it's not like, like your reference to the plane mid-flight and then having to replace an engine. Yeah, it is like that. It's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. But for us, we built it from the ground up that way. And I think the timing was perfect for us, part of that, but really the understanding in the industry of what's needed, where are the liabilities, where are the vulnerabilities at, right? So we got lucky in that part of it. But yes, it is complicated. Anybody can really throw in an algo, throw in a PQC algo, but to make sure that it works in the way it does, it sits where its strengths at, its flow process, the communication or the bidirectional communication lines, they're protected as well. Every juncture is protected. That is a completely different ball game, and that's how Krown is built from the ground up.
I'd love to talk more about quantum attacks and quantum resistance. So, what is there a way to quantify, how big of a threat is quantum attacks to Bitcoin or to Ethereum or to blockchain as a whole?
I get asked this all the time, and I love the question. The problem is that it's almost unquantifiable. Like, to quantify, I don't even know how to, and I can't. And I always have trouble with this question, but I love the question. They ask me one of the questions I get is, are quantum attacks going to be a threat to like Bitcoin or the other chains? And the answer is absolutely. It's Bitcoin and most of the legacy blockchains, they use what's called an elliptic curve cryptography. And it's vulnerable to a quantum attack or an algorithm like Shor's. It's called Shor's algorithm. But that can only happen once the quantum computers are scalable and we can figure out the fault tolerance. But the threat, now is not. They ask me, "Is this in theory?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "It's definitely not theoretical. It's actually inevitable." So the question is when,
Yeah.
not if on that, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's an important distinction that obviously there's such thing as quantum attacks. They can attack Bitcoin, but to
Yeah.
know exactly when that might happen and when the quantum technology is capable of doing that
Yeah.
is anybody's guess.
It is, and but here's the thing though that we're seeing. So it wasn't I don't think maybe 6 months ago, 6 or 12 months ago. They're saying it's 6 to 8, 10 years on the horizon, right? But because of the exponential processing power, and because we don't truly know the quantum power, now they've moved it up to, okay, well, we're in 3 years now. Okay, well, now we're possibly 18 months, right? This timeline is going to absolutely shrink to a point where we're like, okay, it's already here. QDay is already here. And now what are you going to do at that point, right? Because you have harvest now, decrypt later, where we're gathering all of this data or bad state actors or whoever are gathering all of this data, and they're harvesting it right now. And then when the time comes to be able to, that we can scale quantum computers, they're going to decrypt that later on, right? And if you're not ready for that, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. I mean, think about like people, I get asked all the time, why is quantum resistance important, like for DeFi or for the future of DeFi?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's really like think about it like this. So DeFi it relies on what's called a public key or public key cryptography. Um, Without quantum resistance, those those private keys can be reverse engineered, and then they can figure out what those public keys are, and it can do it. Things like okay, so just the other day, not too long ago, we had a problem that was solved that was going to take the fastest supercomputer in the world. I think it was I don't forget how many septillion years, and it did it in what 5 hours or something. And it was I don't remember what it was, but it was something crazy like that. And so this is the threat that looms over us. It threatens smart contracts. Those are built. Those are like projects that are built on Ethereum, liquidity pools, NFTs, everything. I mean, resistance ensures longevity, at least here, and also
Mm-hmm.
trust. And then you can have true digital ownership where you don't have to look up every night. I have people that worry so much about their security that we're helping them now, but worry so much about their security that they're up at night. They'll check their phone or check their
Mm-hmm.
wallets, once a night or and three or
Mm-hmm.
four times during the day. So, yes, it's absolutely a threat, and that's what Crown was built for, though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did see those articles about, thousands of years of the computations are being done in like a day.
Yeah.
And the only explanation was that we're tapping into multiple universes, parallel universes, being able to compute at the same time. So I don't think people understand how fast, I don't even think we know
Well,
how fast it's going to grow. And as you said, they keep moving the timeline up,
yeah.
and you're sort of racing against the clock. And I'm curious to know more about the timeline with Krown Network
Sure.
in understanding racing against the clock. Where exactly is the core infrastructure with
Sure.
being in production and being able to start running those 32 organs of the network?
Yeah. So great question. You have a lot of good questions, Ashton. So the chain itself is part of we wanted to build what's called an MVP package, a minimally viable product package. And in that package is the Krown chain, the native coin, which it will be called Krown. Like Ethereum has ETH, Krown has Krown.
Yeah.
And then also the Krown wallet as well as the Krown Explorer, which many of you may know as BSC scan or ETH scan, whatever. So what we're doing is we are on track for a September launch or testnet launch of the chain. And then for all of those four products there, October is our timeline, and we are on track for all of those. Obviously, we have to do a lot of threat analysis. We have to do our own audits. We have to do external audits and testing. Then we'll open that up to devs for testing as well. But it is on track, and we're moving as fast as we can. But we have to do it in a way that is right. I always tell people they're like, "Well, we need to move fast." Yes, we need to move fast. But could you imagine the consequences if we moved fast and we put that over correct? We put that over, So I always say measure twice, cut once, right? And that's what we're doing here. With regard to the products themselves, they are going to be trickled out as we begin the development, right? We have a couple of products that are already in development right now. One of those is a completely revolutionary wallet. It's called Qastle. Starts with a Q. As you can imagine, it's a quantum resistant wallet, and it's built for quantum attacks. So it's much safer than MetaMask and the others that are out there. Also, we're working on our quantum cold wallet, which we made that announcement with our partners at Quantum Emotion a few months ago that the development is in progress now. So those are on track. The Qastle wallet is actually due about 60 days now. About mid-October to be released. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these products out, get them tested, make sure they're all working correctly, and then once we feel like we have a good grasp of those, then we'll move on to the next one, and future announcements will be made regarding the development. We do have what's called, if anyone wants to keep up with that, we have what's called Krown Meets. They're public meetings that people can attend where I bring our team in, I have guests, things like that are working on our products, and then we go over the progress and we answer questions, everything like that. So it's like a big AMA plus a product reveal and demos as well. So.
Very cool. Looking forward to checking out that Qastle wallet. And I think that's super important. It's one thing to be messing around minting NFT or getting into liquidity pools in DeFi, and you're actually interacting with smart contracts, and there's
Yeah.
potential threat actors there. But to just have your coins in your wallet in cold storage or just on a mobile wallet, the potential for a quantum attack when you're not doing anything is, of course, your coins are always going to be in your wallet, whether you're interacting with DeFi or you're just doing nothing. So that's super
Yeah.
important. We'd
Yeah.
love to see how that works. And does that work with like the just Ethereum tokens or different
No.
coins?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Castle is like it will have the breadth of MetaMask, Trust Wallet, wallets like that, Phantom, whatever. So you'll get Bitcoin, you'll get Ethereum, the entire network there, Solana's, BSC. So you're going to get
Wow.
the vast majority of coins that will be able to be held in our wallet. So yeah, it's not going to be limited. A lot of people thought it was going to be limited. They're like, oh, you're only going to be able to hold Crown, or you're only going to be able to hold Bitcoin and Crown. But no, we really wanted to make it
Yeah.
accessible to everyone, right? As broad as possible, because
Yeah.
people need that security, and we don't want to sit there and try to be like, okay, we're going to keep 80% of you out there in the wind. But yeah, it's going to have a ton of them.
Yeah, well, the wallet's obviously important, but there's still a threat on the chain itself potentially. If Ethereum is not quantum resistant,
Yeah.
attack proof, then they'll need to catch up to Crown in the future, probably.
Yeah, they'll need to catch up, but here's the problem is that, and I get this a lot as well, is that, these are legacy chains. And yet while you can go back and you can patch and you can put things in here or there in certain areas of communication, when you have a chain that's completely built from the ground up, and by the way, it's built, there is no template for this. The way we're building this, we're patenting it. It's never been done before. The layers of PQC, the QRNG, all of that has never been done before, right? But when you have a chain that is built from scratch, ground up for quantum era, it's just a different, it works in a little different way. We like to feel like it's a little bit more secure than what it would be to patch something in. And you can't really patch something in because in another year or two, you're going to have quantum attacks that can recognize certain things like that. So
Yeah, and with the complexity of quantum computers, do you need quantum computers to build a quantum resistant chain? Or like how do you understand how to fight against quantum attacks?
yeah, I think no, you do not, number one. But certainly you need a team that is senior level, multiple people that work together on this because that's what we have, and we have a large team that works on not just that hasn't worked on just the cryptography part, but has worked on building the chain and all of that. But you do not have to have a quantum computer. You just need to understand security. You need to understand how blockchains work. And I think most importantly, you need to understand how thieves work, how bad actors work, right? And once you understand that, you can do a threat analysis. You can look at where the attacks may originate and why they would do that. And the question is why and where. So for us, we have a great team on board, and they know exactly what they're doing. In fact, they've got about 40 years now combined between the four of them on this very subject.
That's good to know. And earlier you mentioned out of different categories, DeFi is of utmost importance for protecting from quantum attacks because if people aren't storing their funds in their wallet, they're often staking it or putting it in a liquidity pool to help trade. And there's billions of dollars in value locked in DeFi on Ethereum and other chains right now. How is it possible to take the value locked in DeFi on Ethereum, Solana, etc., and is there compatibility between the chains, or is there a way that we can make those quantum resistant, or do they actually have to create a whole new DeFi ecosystem on Krown Network?
They will have to do a ton of complex infrastructure rebuild. They will have to. Now, there is a niche area that people are getting into or developers are trying to get into, which is offering PQC algorithms, things like that, which are patches for this or that, but they're not a whole fix. And with regard to how do we move those tokens or those assets, we're going to be bridged. So and before anything can happen with regard to any chain that we bridge to, the it will basically be like, okay, well, you're coming from this bridge into Krown. Well, welcome to the quantum era, right? So now everything that comes through there is going to be protected. So as it comes through, let's say as the transfer comes through, it's checked and then it's validated, and then it goes through multiple PQC layers, and then after that's accepted into the chain, then they can be on there and with no issues. But it's extremely resistant to. We welcome all. I like to say this. We welcome all coins and tokens, but with the caveat of now you're going to operate on a different level. Now you're going to have a different type of security, right? So that's how it works.
Yep, definitely. And I wanted to touch a little bit more on the Krown token. You were saying how each of the organs of the system feeds back into the token and makes it sustainable. I know there's a proof of stake ecosystem as well, so I'm assuming you can stake it, and there's probably a gas fee transaction similar to Ethereum. How else does the Krown token interact with the ecosystem and provide value?
Yes, yeah. So we've integrated. So yes, the Krown coin, the native coin of Krown chain, is the basically the backbone for all of the wealth that's built into it. So what you do is the Krown coin can be used in most, if not all, of our ecosystem products. You can use, obviously, you on rail. You can bring in others and then convert those if you want to. But whether it's from our gaming system, our gaming platform that we're building, which is massive, you can use things like in the game to purchase skins or whatever it may be, barter, things like that. And then with regard to the others, you can pay for services, you can pay for new products, you can stake. Whatever you want to do with the Krown coin, you can do it within the ecosystem itself. And like I said, it's such an expansive and massive ecosystem. You really don't, the idea is that you don't have to leave Krown to enjoy the DeFi world. It's everything from due diligence. There's a due diligence project called Krown Ranker. You can go and look at other projects before you even go there or try to do your due diligence, because as we know, it takes forever sometimes to try to figure out if these people are legit. So you can do Krown Ranker, you can look at the latest news, you can do a swap, you can do, there's so many different things that you can use. You can download some of our apps, whether it's the Qastle or it's our 4FSA. That's another one. That's one that I invented. It's called four-factor synchronous authentication. It's built for a new layer of security. So everything that comes into those products, like the native coin or Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever they're using to pay for the products or services, a certain percentage of all the profits go back into buybacks every month into the coin itself. So that's what helps hold the floor. That's what helps create the value. If you can imagine, I mean, one of the quarterly financials just came out for one of the chains, and it was 700 million in profit. It's ridiculous, right? And we're talking about taking 10 to 15% of our profits and buying those back into Krown coin. So you can imagine that type of $100 million injection every month or every quarter. Sorry, every quarter. That's the plan, and that's how we're going to build that wealth. So
it's very cool. And you mentioned the testnet's coming up. Can you give a recap on the short-term roadmap, and then the medium term as you sort of fight against quantum attacks? Where do you hope to be when QDay comes?
Well, I'm constantly looking at QDay's ETA. I call it QETA, but and it's always moving up because we really don't know. I mean, anyway, unfortunately until it happens. But in the next year, what we want to do, we'll be ready. We're going to be, like I say, October is that's really our deadline to have the chain and everything ready to go, and we're on track for that. But testnet, mainnet, we'll have flagship products as well, like Krown Trade. We'll have the 4FSA. We'll have Qastle, Krown Pay. We're working on Krown Pay. We'll also have a bank as well, and then Krown Social. So we're looking to have several of these products all set to go. But as each one, to answer your question, how are we getting ready for that? Again, by October, we'll be all set and launched. And then before each product is connected into if you can imagine a puzzle, right? So imagine a circle puzzle. Each piece has to go in and fit right. What we're doing is we're making sure we test it for quantum attack. We test it to make sure that all of the lines of communication, the junctures are correct, and that they're secured. and then we go ahead and place it in. Then we test it again and make sure that that's correct and everything works the way it's supposed to. And then after that, we'll beta and go from there. I would say in 3 to 5 years, we'll expand. I mean, it'll be a global adoption just because, and in 3 to 5 years, you're in trouble if you're just trying to build, or if you're trying to hold on to your legacy chain, you're in trouble in 3 to 5 years. I'll tell you that right now. So, but we're looking to onboard millions of people and they can, remember, it's all about, for us, it's about security. And then it's also about efficiency and rewards for the users. So, but that's where I think we'll be. Right now, we're really focused on that launch of the chain and the coin. And then we're going to go from there. But it's very methodical in how we do it. Step by step, we know how each one's going to talk to each other and where they will sit on the chain.
Very interesting, James. And for people that want to follow along with these updates and also getting involved, is it possible to get involved right now, or how can people support and interact with the project as it grows?
Yeah, great question. So the answer is yes, they can get involved. You can go to Krown.network. That's our website for Krown, for the Krown Network. And you can actually go in and create an account, or you can connect your wallet if you want. We have the pre-sale going on right now. It's actually, it's going to be done in about 4 to 6 weeks. The pre-sale will be over with, but it is filling up fast. You can join our Telegram group as well. That's at Krown Network. Pretty much everything, whether it's our X.com account, LinkedIn, all of that is at Krown Network. So if you go to, just type in Krown Network on Google or anywhere else, and you'll be able to see everywhere. But you can create an account, you can connect your wallet, and there's a dashboard that you can go to, and you can see all kinds of information. You have certain layers of certain levels, right? Certain tiers that you hold, everything from, and this goes back to like the Camelot days into the medieval times. But you can start out as a squire, and you can work your way all the way up to a prince, right? And each one of those tiers that you work up to, whether it's Viscount or whatever it may, Duke, each one of those have certain types of benefits. Whether it's receiving free Crown coin, whether it's receiving free tickets to events, to the Camelot Gala, to the Crown Conference that's starting next year. All of these things, you get all of these types of rewards. And then you have the reward structure itself, so which is things like merch and coin and all of this. You get referral bonuses as well. So there's a bunch inside the Krown Hub that you can just enjoy and really navigate and just peruse around.
Very cool. Very expansive ecosystem, James. And I'll leave those social links and the Krown Network platform links and everything in the social links below in the description. And I really appreciate your insights into quantum and where we're at and QDay. I don't know if I can say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to learning more about what needs to happen in blockchain to make sure that we're protected and that we can fight against any attacks and make sure that these decentralized ecosystems remain intact and prosper through the quantum days ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I think it's important that people understand that Krown was built out of a need, and was built out of a need of honesty and transparency and integrity. I think once you have those core pillars, you can build whatever you want, and we know you're doing it right. We know that it's honest. We know that it's built for people in a good way, right? And the final thing is that Krown is also a goodwill company, Krown Technologies. We're going to take, a part of our Krown charities is we're going to take a percentage of all of our profits and we're going to give back. And what that looks like is determined by the community. The community gets to vote on projects, things like that they want to do. And so we're going to do everything we can to do good with technology and to do good with the blessings that we've been given us. So thank you so much.
Nice to hear. Thank you so much, James.
Yep.